Hello, everybody. Miss Peachy again from WCA Biology A. And we are going to be looking at um, Unit 2, Lesson 4. You are what you eat. So make sure it's good stuff, ladies and gentlemen, because you use the nutrients in your food and the different essential nutrients we call them, or like essential elements, to be able to help fuel your body and make you who you are, to build you, to make the structures that make you you. So the key terms here, and remember that this is a notes guide that we have that you can find on my website. The link is right below the video. You can find it there. um, the key terms are carbohydrate, cellular respiration, cellulose, chemical reaction, conservation of matter, glucose, nucleic acid, photosynthesis, and protein. And some of these are going to look familiar because some of them we've talked about before. So what you're going to find with biology or learning in general is a lot of time you'll learn about something and then you'll see it again. And the next time we'll talk about it more in depth. So the first time we talked about it was kind of an introduction, and this is a little bit more detailed. And as we kind of move on through the course of biology, we'll delve more into these concepts and you'll know them even more as time goes on. So here's a picture of a yummy salad. I don't know how many of you like salad. I love salads a lot. My kids aren't big fans of salad. In fact, I think I remember being in high school and not particularly caring that much for salad. It was okay. I had some, but I wasn't a huge salad eater. As I've gotten older, I've liked them more, craved them more, started kind of playing with adding more ingredients to them to make them a little bit more tasty for me. But that's a looks like a nice little salad there. And salads are plants, and plants make their own food. They don't have to eat salads. That'd be weird. A plant eating a salad, right? Carnivore? No, if you are a what's the word? Man, Talia, Swiss cheese brain again. Um, if you eat your own kind, right? What is that? A cannibal. Plant cannibals. Weird concept altogether. Anyways, plants make their own food chemically through a process called photosynthesis. So let's break down photosynthesis. Photo, even though you might think of picture, you can't see things without light. So photo refers to light. Synthesis means to make something. So we're not making light, we're using light to make something. So this is a chemical reaction which uses light to make sugars using the elements of water and carbon dioxide. And you can see it in this picture. This picture is really kind of small, but I can click on it and make it bigger here. We have our reaction, our water plus carbon dioxide plus the energy of light is then used to make that reaction run and produce oxygen and glucose. So glucose is the sugar. Oxygen is just a waste product that the plant produces, and we use it. So we're just like, thank you, plant. That's pretty awesome. We appreciate you making all that oxygen for us. But you'll notice that there's little numbers that appear before each of these compounds. The larger numbers are called coefficients. We have 6 in front of water, H2O is water. We have 6 in front of carbon dioxide, CO2 is carbon dioxide. And we have 6 in front of oxygen. There's no number in front of the sugar because only one sugar molecule is made. The numbers that are in front indicate the number of molecules that are involved. So there are 6 water molecules, 6 carbon dioxide molecules, and those produce 6 oxygens and 1 sugar. And we have to make sure we indicate the number here because in real life, matter is always going to be conserved when a chemical reaction takes place. So you have to have the same number of ingredients as you do what you get out of it. We call these reactants here, and we call these products. So we need to have the same number of reactants as we do products. And if we count these up, we'll see that we have the same number of H's on both sides. You have 12 H's here. So you have 6 of these waters, which gives us 12 hydrogens, 6 H2s. And over here we have C2H12O6. So there are 12 hydrogens here as well, right? C6H12O6. This is actually should be C6H12O6. There's a little typo in here. Uh-oh. You see the 6 carbons? Yeah, Miss Peachy is going to write that one up and make sure she informs the powers that be that the picture in Unit 4 lesson, or Unit 2 lesson 4, and we are here on slide 2, is incorrect. All right, I'll make a little note and I will make sure I notify connections to fix that image. So that should say C6H12O6. So the idea here is that we have 6 carbons here and we have 6 carbons here. So you always have the same number of each element on both sides of the chemical reaction. That is called the law of conservation of matter. That's what they're talking about here. So what's happening here is that the plant is producing glucose. It can then take that glucose, that simple sugar, and make more complex molecules. So it can make things like starch. So starches can be made. I like starch. How about you? I have some starch for later. This is for later on because we have conferences tonight. See my popcorn from the Corn Palace. That's a cool place. That's delicious. That's a starch that this corn plant produced, and I'm going to eat it as an omnivore, person who likes to eat meats and plants. And I'm going to be able to use the energy that's stored in that starch to tide me over because I have to work until 7 o'clock tonight, so I'm not going to have dinner on time and I'm going to be hungry. And so that corn, my popcorn, will help tide me over, give me energy so that I don't get hangry, which is super important. Miss Peach, you don't like to get hangry, right? So that is a type of molecule called a carbohydrate, and it is made from simple sugars that are all linked together into a long chain to make this cool molecule. Another type of molecule that is made by a whole bunch of different glucoses is cellulose. I have a piece of paper in front of me because plants, they use cellulose to make their cell walls. And one of the uses that humans use cell walls for is to make paper. So paper is made up of fibers from plants that is cellulose. So cellulose is paper. Wood is also cellulose as well. So we have multiple different uses for cellulose as human beings, but it is produced by plants. And again, it is a derivative of glucose. Glucose is linked together to make this kind of a molecule called cellulose. And both of these are types of carbohydrates. So we have starches, which are a type of carbohydrate, and we have cellulose, which is a type of carbohydrate. And again, they're all made from glucose molecules. Plants and animals, now I can't make my own glucose. I have to eat the popcorn to get my glucose. But plants can make their own glucose, but I can get glucose from eating plants, right? And I can use the energy from that glucose to make other things in my body. I can make proteins. And I can make lipids and stuff using the energy from the glucose. But to do that, I first have to extract that energy. And I extract the energy in a process called cellular respiration, which we already talked about, so it should be familiar, right? So cellular respiration takes that glucose molecule and breaks it up into smaller and smaller pieces because there's energy that's stored in the bonds between the atoms. So if we go back to this picture, way up here, and we look at our molecule of glucose, each one of these atoms is bonded together by a covalent bond, so they're sharing electrons, and there's energy that's stored in them. Much like if I have a rubber band and I stretch that rubber band, there's potential energy stored in the rubber band, just like there's potential energy stored in the bonds between the electrons in this molecule. So when that molecule is broken down, when glucose is broken down into pyruvic acid, when that's broken down even further using part of that cellular respiration cycle, you can extract energy and use that energy to make a smaller molecule called ATP. We're going to talk lots and lots about ATP because ATP is like the gold in your body. It's not really gold, by the way, but it's really, really important. It's very valuable. It's adenosine triphosphate, and it has um, three phosphate groups that are linked together, right? And it's that last phosphate group that really stores a lot of energy. Again, another way to store potential energy, but it's in a more usable form than in glucose. Glucose has to be broken down a bunch of times to get at it, whereas ATP, you can just use it real quick. So if I need any instant or quick energy, I can get it from ATP. So that's done, manufactured in cellular respiration. So that is the gist of Unit 2, Lesson 4. You are what you eat. So eat good stuff. Try to eat some more salads, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, the reason why we want you to eat things like salads is because the essential nutrients that you need, remember, are those carbohydrates, the proteins, the lipids, and the nucleic acids. And so you're going to find things like carbons and nitrogens are really high and dense in plant materials. And they're much easier for your body to break down than things that are a little bit more complex, like meats and and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean you have to have a completely plant diet. Obviously, you need to have protein in your diet, which is much, it's um there's protein in meat, there's protein in many different other things as well, but it's a good way to get some of the protein. And you need fats and lipids in your diet, so those are important as well. So there's a whole complex or complete picture, but plants make up a good part of that because they're providing us with those essential carbohydrates that we can't make. And they're much easier for us to extract from plants than anywhere else. All right, that's it in this particular lesson, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you understood it a little bit better. That's my goal here, and I will see you in the next one.